How does the FDA determine the reliability of TBI diagnostic devices?
Did you know that TBI diagnostic devices must go through extensive FDA reviews before they can go on market? The FDA has safeguards in place to ensure that these TBI diagnostic devices are safe and effective for patients. The FDA thoroughly reviews clinical data on the device's ability to diagnose and treat TBI. That is, the device's ability to accurately determine who does and who does not have traumatic brain injury. For TBI diagnostic devices, most go through a regulatory pathway called FDA 510(k) notification, and that is the device has to show that it's substantially equivalent to another device on the market. The FDA will review data on the device's design and materials to ensure that holistically the device is safe to use. Once a device goes to market, the FDA will monitor the device to ensure that it is continuously safe for patients.
What are the limits of FDA-cleared TBI diagnostics, and how can they improve?
The good news is there are now a number of devices that can help to identify when a TBI has occurred. But there's still a lot of room for improvement. Effects of one brain injury can be very different from another, and so we need more than just a TBI diagnosis if we're going to deliver personalized treatments. Most of the devices that are currently available aren't necessarily designed to separate out different kinds of problems in brain function or to track recovery over time. After mild TBI, most patients will get normal results on those devices within a week or sooner, but actual brain recovery often continues for up to 90 days. If we were able to effectively track brain recovery across this full time frame, we could use this to tailor treatment plans and potentially help them recover better and faster. Whether we're talking about diagnosis or tracking recovery, some more research and development is needed so that we can make sure we have accurate results in the right place at the right time. For example, some blood biomarkers require special lab equipment that's not widely available, and it may not provide immediate results. Meanwhile, many other devices that measure cognitive performance, pupil response, or brain activity are affected by common conditions like stress, pain, or sleep deprivation, which could result in misdiagnosis.
What is the importance of testing TBI devices in military settings?
In many ways, battlefield brain assessment is the ultimate challenge because the brain is the most complex organ and the battlefield is one of the most demanding and unpredictable places. So if you have a device that was designed to be used in a hospital or even on the sidelines, it might not be suitable for use in military settings. Usually, gear that gets deployed needs to meet really stringent requirements for things like heat and cold, impact and vibration, as well as size, weight, and electrical requirements. On top of that, you need to be prepared for injured service members to have a variety of injuries and medical conditions, and potentially high levels of stress, pain, or sleep deprivation, which could skew the results. So when we're evaluating whether a device might be useful for battlefield TBI diagnosis, we'll want to take a close look at the validation research so that we can see what the evidence says about how that device performs in all these different situations. And even then, before rolling a device out on a large scale, we'll want to get detailed feedback from experienced military providers who have had a chance to test the device in realistic battlefield environments.
What are some key advancements in TBI diagnostics over the past 25 years? Blast dosimeters.
This is an Army helmet that was developed with blast dosimeters on it. This was developed about 2008, and as soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan were sustaining trauma from IED blast. These were very different because unlike most explosions, which are either overhead or from the side, a lot of soldiers were being wounded by blasts that were from beneath them. And this created a different dynamic. And with the injury, they were trying to figure out, well, what exactly are these soldiers being exposed to? So this is a standard Army combat helmet. There's a blast dosimeter on the back. And then on the inside of the helmet, on the top of it, I think you can see it, there's kind of a little dosimeter right buried inside the helmet. And it took the reading. So when a soldier was wounded in an explosion, they had data of exactly what the overpressure was from the explosion. And just these are things that could help develop better helmets for soldiers, better protective gear, and also help them in the treatment of this wounded soldier.
What are some key advancements in TBI diagnostics over the past 25 years? iSync.
This is an early version of the iSync. It was developed by a company, a Boston startup, It was developed through a grant from the U.S. Army Medical Material Development Command. And what they were trying to determine was develop something that could be used in the front line in austere environments to help determine if a person was fit for duty. What it relied on was a series of lights inside this. You looked inside the headset, and there was a series of lights that went in a perfect circle. Your eye is going to follow it. And what this device did was it followed your eye. If everything was fine, you had a circle. But if you had something like fatigue or traumatic brain injury, your eye would not necessarily follow it perfectly. And by seeing the pattern on there, you could kind of get an idea of what was going on with the person, determine whether they needed further evaluation or not.
How do FDA-cleared TBI diagnostic devices support clinical decisions?
There are several categories of FDA-cleared devices that helped assist in the diagnosis of TBI. So first of all, there's neuroimaging. When we talk about neuroimaging, we talk about the CT scan, which is widely available, and it gives rapid results that can help rule out such things as hemorrhages, contusions, or even skull fractures. Next, there are blood biomarkers, specifically GFAP and UCHL1. Now, these are considered markers of neuronal injury. And while there are several systems out there, the iStat Alinity system is a device that is currently being used by the military to aid in the evaluation of service members that may have sustained a mild traumatic brain injury, and also to help determining whether or not CT scan is indicated. Now, these test results come from whole blood. You can get results in about 15 minutes, and it can be used up to 24 hours post-injury. So there are two other devices that I'd like to talk about, the first of which is the infrascanner. Now, the infrascanner is a near-infrared spectroscopy, or NIRS device, that is used to detect the presence of extraaxial blood, such as a subdural or epidural hematoma. And it can also aid in determining whether or not a CT is necessary. This device is currently being used by some units downrange in the military and can help provide valuable information as to whether or not a service member may need medical evaluation. Lastly, there's BrainScope. Now, BrainScope is an FDA-cleared quantitative electroencephalogram device, or QEEG device, that is used as an adjunctive diagnostic aid in determining the likelihood of CT-detectable intracranial abnormalities within 72 hours post-injury, and it's based on changes in electrical activity of the brain.
What are biomarkers, and how do they aid brain injury assessment?
Generally, biomarkers are defined as indicators of a biological process. The most commonly studied types of biomarkers for TBI include blood biomarkers, eye tracking metrics, and electrophysiological changes, or changes in the electrical activity of the brain. And the FDA has cleared several devices in each of these three categories for aiding the evaluation of people with a suspected head injury.
How can biomarker tests guide return to duty decisions?
Blood biomarkers are proteins that are released into the bloodstream after there's been brain cell damage and are indications of neuronal injury. But specifically, they're used in the acute setting to help aid in the diagnosis of TBI. And while it's possible to measure these levels over time, and certainly if the levels go down back to normal, it may indicate brain healing, currently there's no indication for their use in determination of whether or not someone should go back to full duty. In the military, we recommend using the progressive return to activity, which is an evidence-based stepwise approach to safely increasing activity before someone gets cleared to go back to full duty. And once they're ready to go back to full duty, we recommend using both a physical and cognitive screening exam to ensure medical readiness. So for now, blood biomarkers need more research before they're used in determination for return to duty.
What are the key challenges in using biomarkers to diagnose TBI?
One of the current challenges with using biomarkers to assess TBI is timing. For example, evidence suggests that the currently FDA-cleared blood biomarkers for assessing TBI are most accurate when they're measured within the first 24 to 48 hours after the injury. Beyond this period, they become less accurate at detecting the TBI. Another challenge is that sometimes changes in these markers can be detected in people who have not had a brain injury, leading to false positive results. And this is because many factors, including exercise and other medical conditions, can also affect these markers. And this is one reason the currently FDA-cleared biomarker assessments should not be used as standalone tools and should instead be combined with a routine clinical evaluation to make a definitive TBI diagnosis.
How does military research advance biomarkers and TBI diagnostics?
Military research is driving innovation in TBI biomarker development by investigating ways to use and adapt these tools to military-relevant environments. That includes austere environments and conditions of prolonged field care. For example, research is looking at ways to make these clinic-based assessments more portable and easier to use in these environments while maintaining diagnostic accuracy. Ultimately, the goal for the future is to be able to use these assessments to quickly evaluate warfighters for brain injury and get them the care that they need faster.